What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Brittana. If you are new here, welcome again. As you can tell by the title of this video, I will be sharing with you guys a few tips on how you can be more disciplined this year. So let's get started. Also, if you haven't already, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on your notifications bell because I do post content weekly all about lifestyle, fashion, holistic living, wellness, motherhood, and just so much more. So the purpose of this video is essentially me just talking to you guys and sharing with you guys some tips, just based on my personal experience when it comes down to being disciplined. And like me personally, I would like to say that I'm a very disciplined individual. However, I'm human and I can definitely relate to the times of wanting to just be lazy or procrastinate when it comes down to projects. And I think that for the most part, one of the most essential keys to life or success is discipline. So like I said, I'm going to be sharing with you guys a few tips that just have helped me when it comes down to being really organized and being like a planner. Because like I said, all these things kind of connect, and if you lack in one area of your life, you're bound to lack in in other areas of your life, which is a whole nother video in itself. But we're just gonna stick to how we can just focus on this one area of our life, so that way hopefully that will help other areas of our life. Okay, so let's just get into this. So before we kind of start, I really wanted to I wanted to share with you guys a quote. I do have my notes here, so I'm going to be looking back and forth on my laptop. So if you see me glance, that's what I'm doing. But before we started, I want to actually share with you guys a quote that I heard recently when I was listening to this motivational video, and it really stood out to me and spoke to me in such a deep resonation type of way. The quote is, finishing requires focus. It's more of a statement than an actual full quote, but finishing requires focus. And just even when you listen to that, at least for me, say it resonates on a whole nother level when it comes down to all the projects that I have coming up or have had come up. I found myself starting projects and then not focusing and not being able to finish them. And so when I heard that, it just clicked, yeah, that is so true. In order for me to finish this, I need to be focused, not just focus on okay, I have this one goal, but it's really okay, what is the end goal and why am I working so hard towards this goal? And me focusing on the reasons why why I want this end goal to be what it is, will help me essentially finish and accomplish it. So to tie into the actual tips that I'm going to be sharing with you guys, the first thing that I want to talk about in regards to how to be more disciplined is when you're setting goals for yourself, be realistic and be intentional. So that's the first thing that I wanted to kind of share with you guys. And the reason why I say be intentional is because we all have big dreams that I think may be a little either realistic or maybe unrealistic. And I feel like if you can be as realistic as possible with yourself, set real deadlines, and if you haven't already, definitely check out a few of my other videos I have on my channel, because I talk about this a lot, even on my stories on Instagram. So definitely follow me if you're not already. But I am all about being intentional when it comes down to the way that I parent, when it comes down to the way that I learn, when it comes down to the way that I do things. Once again, I'm not perfect, and there's times where I may be a little more lax or whatever the case may be, but the main thing is setting those intentions. And so for me, what that may look like is at the beginning of the week, I will set my intention of how I plan to feel for that week, set my intention of what I want to get done, so which essentially is creating a to-do list or things of that nature. But for the most part, just like I said, setting intentions for those goals. And it's if you set goals that are bigger than you, then I feel like you're more attainable, in the sense of okay, I want to work towards not just material things, but I want to work towards maybe starting an organization or a foundation or a youth movement or something like that. It gives you it makes you feel a little more like you have a purpose to fulfill. And then if you focus on individual like tasks at, you know, at hand, then I feel like at that point you'll be more willing to work really, really hard. And going back to my little quote for the day, you'll be able to finish it because you'll know what you're focused on. The second tip that I want to share with you guys is to build a relationship with yourself. So that one to me helps when it comes down, or stands out, because the fact that like when you have like a relationship with yourself, or you're self-aware, you'll know what you're capable of, what you're not capable of. And for the most part, you'll know that like, okay, you know what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do. And so being, like, say, realistic again, and you know, being able to trust your intuition and all those things, I think all that kind of ties like hand in hand with, like, as I mentioned before, being like discipline. Because if you know yourself and you know that, okay, hey, like if I'm gonna go to the club, I'm gonna be tempted to do X, Y, and Z, then maybe I should not go to the club, okay? Or what's another great example of, like, you know, temptations and you know, falling victim to those things? Oh, perfect. So I was just thinking of like food. Like if you know you're trying to be like vegan for a week, or you know, do keto for a week, or whatever the case may be, maybe you may not want to order Uber Eats every single day, or maybe you may want to go grocery shopping at the beginning of the week and literally just have those items only in the house, so that way you don't be tempted. And you know, the reason why I say having that relationship is because you know yourself better than anyone else, and you know that, okay, like I said, if I have these temptations around, I'm less likely to be disciplined when it comes down to it. So I think that's like the big thing. Like, just like I said, know yourself and just become so fully involved and self-aware to the point where everything kind of will just fall into place when you're working towards being disciplined. And I also want to mention when it comes down to like to knowing yourself, that it's okay if you start and then you may have some issues down along the way. It's okay if you start and then stop and then go back into doing what it is that you're doing, as long as you, like I said, remain focused on the end goal and just keep trying. You want to make sure that you're being gentle with yourself. You want to make sure that you're being patient with yourself, because all of these things are still like a learning process. Even for myself, it's still like a learning process. And like I said, I'm not perfect. I definitely have my temptations and my moments where I just really don't even want to do things, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, like, so just be patient with yourself and it will all align. Okay, so the next tip that I kind of want to focus on is accountability. So I think that this is a really, really important tip, because I believe that, when you have like an accountability partner, or even you're an accountability partner for someone else, as it is what it is, you are essentially going to be held accountable. And I feel like when you tell somebody like, oh, hey, this is what I want to do with my X, Y, and Z goal, or whatever the case may be, I need you to be that support system or that guide for me to get this accomplished. You not only feel like you have that support, but at the same time, you're more likely to actually get to the point where you're disciplining yourself through the process, because you want to make sure that you either don't want to let that person down, or don't want to let yourself down, or that you actually finish that goal. So I definitely think, like, so having an accountability partner is, or some form of accountability, so whether that be journaling and making sure you stick to a journal type of activity, or whatever the case may be, to hold yourself accountable, that will be really, really good. Another thing, I actually had 5 tips, but I kind of want to throw in another one since I just mentioned journaling. Another thing you guys can do is actually like start with just like one like activity, or start with like one like habit. Maybe that might be the easier way. It's just like focus on like one lifestyle change that you want to work towards, and actually take some time to be disciplined. So whether that be like something like, okay, I want to be more productive, right? So maybe what that may look like is you not watching Netflix for a whole month, and you literally will have to like sign out, maybe like not even pay for Netflix for the month, so that way you can discipline yourself to not do that. Or maybe I want to be more productive, so that may look like I don't think I should be on Instagram scrolling all day. And it may be for the first week of you working towards that, you have to delete the app from your phone, so that way you're like literally only focus on what it is that you need to be focused on. So I just wanted to throw that in there as well. The next tip that I wanted to mention is to practice mindfulness. And I really wanted to talk and touch on this mainly because I recently watched this video about, it was like a sermon from this pastor, a preacher named Michael Todd on not Instagram, on YouTube. My sister actually shared it with me, and his word, or like the message that was given, was about I believe it was "Here I am, here is holy." I think that's the name of the title. I can link it down below for you guys. But when you actually listen to it, like, I know I'm not going to explain it to the fullest extent, because the way that he broke it down, it just like clicks, like literally. And it ties back to being like mindful, only because of the fact that like in his message he talked about like how being here, like in the here and now, is God's way of showing you that he loves you, and that he's preparing you for your purpose and preparing you for what it is that you know you need and you desire to have. So that was like my quick little overview of what that was, and obviously it goes more into details about that, so I definitely recommend checking that out. But even if you like read or into reading, there's a book called Power of Now by I believe his name is Eckhart Tolle. I'm probably like butchering his name, but if you know what that book is, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And there's another book that's actually one of like my favorite books called The Conscious Language, and I love those two books mainly because they teach you how to not only use your language in the right way for like manifesting or whatever the case may be, but mainly to just focus on the here and the now, being present in this place, and just focus on what it is. Now I know I'm ranting a little bit too much about it, but just stay with me. I'm going to tie it all back together. So basically the reason why I'm bringing being mindful is because, like I said, when you are so consumed with everything that life has to offer, sometimes you are bound to get distracted. And when you are distracted, going back to my little quote, you're not focused. And when you're not focused, you're less likely to finish what it is that you need to finish. So for me, like I said before, I think that mindfulness is like another key essential to life. And there's different ways of going about practicing mindfulness, and other than just like meditating and praying and journaling and things of that nature. But just even if it is just you focusing on your current circumstance, and it may not look like, okay, I have it all together. You may be actually going through some struggles, but the fact that you're still alive, that you're still breathing, and that you're still walking and have the ability to work or make income lets you and myself know, because like I said, I have to know myself for this sometimes, that it's gonna work out, it's gonna be okay, and I'm okay where I am right now, and where I am right now is going to prepare me for where I am going, which kind of ties back to the video that I just mentioned with Michael Todd's Here I Am. Essentially, he also mentioned in that too about how God will, like I say, prepare you for your purpose. So if it is something where you trying to get to that executive level in your business, but you don't even know how to be an executive officer, how do you plan to get or even thrive and succeed in that position when you don't even know the ins and outs and the ropes of how that is now? So basically that kind of ties into the mindfulness. Practice mindfulness, prepare yourself for what it is that you need to do. If there's certain goals that you're working towards, continue to take your time, but focus on those goals in a way where you can actually learn those traits and learn how to be where you're trying to be soon. So I hope that makes a whole bunch of sense. Comment down below if it resonates with you. But the last tip that I want to share with you guys is to not give up. As I mentioned earlier, there's gonna be times where it's gonna be really rough, and you're gonna be like, nah, this is not it. What is Britt talking about? I cannot deal with this. This is way too much for me, and that's okay. You may be feeling like, what, I want to have a lazy day. And like I always say, if you're watching my videos, we are all about holistic self-care. That's okay. Do that. Have your self-care day. have that moment to yourself where you're just chilling, or you know, if you want to watch Netflix. But a few hours later, I need you to get back to it. I need you the next day to wake up fresh and get right back to it, as if like that self-care day was just like a reset day. Okay. And like I said, it's okay if you know, don't always have it all figured out. The main thing is to just be determined. And even if like along the way you may come across some type of struggle or whatever the case may be, and even if you fail, that's okay. The main thing is to try again. And like I said, I want to stress that so much because I feel like, you know, a lot of the times people will fail, and you know, even myself included, like I'm a calculated risk taker, in the sense of like I like strategic risk. I like risk that I know I'm gonna, you know, bounce back from. But when it's something that is unclear or unseen, that's where I'm like, I don't know about that. And so if I fail, I feel like, oh my God, like this is the end of the world. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that can kind of like relate to that point as well. But the main thing is to just keep trying, you know, be a closer, get these deals, get your business done, like get what you need to get done like today. And just practice being persistent and practice resiliency, you know, just practice being focused. And so just to kind of conclude, I'm gonna like to leave off one more time to just remind you guys that finishing requires focus. And so if you are not, you know, the one to be disciplined, that's okay, because you can definitely turn everything around and practice being disciplined to the point where that is like innately in who you are. And another few closing words is, don't let nobody keep you in a box and make you feel like, oh, well, this is what it is. This is how you are. And that mentality or that mindset of like, okay, this is just who I am. I can't change that. That's whack. We're not doing that, especially in 2022. So what I need you guys to do is, if you are in the place of trying to evolve, go ahead and somehow figure out a way to remove that and erase that from your lifestyle, from your mindset, so that way you guys can evolve and elevate and just excel and exceed and just everything. So like I just mentioned, yeah, we're not here to just like be mediocre, you know. We're not here to just like let the days go by and just wonder and wish, why me, why is this happening to me, without putting in any effort. And I know I mentioned this in my other video, but I'm gonna mention this again. The book that I referenced in the other video was How Billionaires Think, and then essentially there was like one chapter where the author basically talked about how if you are upset at your current, or mad at your current struggle, then you must not be planning to change that struggle. And that resonated with me in so many ways, to the point where I'm bringing it up again, okay, in the second video, because I feel like a lot of the times we have a lot of issues and we just kind of focus so much on our issues, and it really has a lot to just do with, like I said, the lack of being disciplined, or the lack of wanting to change to work towards better. And if you have, like I said, if you have issues, it's natural for us all to go through problems and things of that nature. But the main thing is for us to just give it to God, you know, let God handle it, let God lead it. And always remember, you are what you consume. So if it's something where, you know, you are in a certain place, maybe it's a matter of just changing your environment. Maybe it's a matter of, like I said, changing your mindset, and which ties back to you having an accountability partner. If it's somebody like your mom, keeping it real, people, or you have a family member that's not that supportive, and you know, like if you tell them this go, they're gonna just kind of laugh in your face, then that's not the person for you. But yeah, that's pretty much what I really wanted to touch on. Alright, you guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you truly enjoyed this. Definitely comment down below a white heart if you made it all the way to the end of this video, and a few of your favorite tips from this video. If you happen to have any other tips that you think may help someone else on their journey, please feel free to share. Other than that, as always, I am sending light and love, and I'll see you guys in the next video.